Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Yeah. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. Come on.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Wow. We got such a wonderful show today. I got this special guest, been on the show before, and it's always a pleasure to have her on, especially when we're talking about the voices of children. I mean, it's so important. We're going to talk about the CASA program, and we're going to talk about, what it takes to actually volunteer and be a part of something like this great cause. So I just want everybody to just sit back, pay attention. And I tell you, if you want to be part of this great conversation, that's 1-866-577-2473. That's we're getting ready to start in a minute. But you can also be a part of this great conversation by going to whichever mechanism you're watching it on, whether it's E360 TV, or whether it's LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or 24 other live streaming networks. And just give StreamYard permission to show your Facebook picture, and you can ask questions of this great lady all during the show. And I promise I will make sure that I get it on the air. Michelle, how are you doing today? I tell you what, I want you to hold that thought, because I want to bring the radio portion of it in, and then we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about how you're doing. So, hey, Kevin, let's do it.
It's Your Life is sponsored by James J.C. Cooley.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. James is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the James Cooley Foundation. James is here to equip you to strive for greatness and to overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, James Cooley.
Hello, welcome to This Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and I'm excited. I'm excited about this show today. And, wherever you listen, if you listen to it on the radio, KCBQ, or you listening, watching it on television, or listening and watching it on YouTube, LinkedIn, all the other 16, the 20 something live streaming networks, join us. We're happy that you're here. We got a great discussion today. We got the president and CEO of Voices for Children. And you know what? And Michelle, you know this as well. Someone have to speak up. Someone have to guide. Someone have to take care of our children of this world, or the United States, or everything. So how you doing today, Michelle Cooley?
I'm doing great, Dr. James Cooley. I'm excited to have Kelly Captain Douglas back on the show. You know, this is a very important topic, especially talking about the foster care system. I mean, I think the majority of the public does not really know much about the foster care system. They hear what they hear on TV, or maybe during pleasant conversations, or just, in the middle of something, but they don't really understand what goes on to the foster care system. So we have Kelly Captain Douglas, who will be discussing Voices for Children nonprofit organization, and also discuss a court-appointed special advocate program. We call that CASA, and what it takes to become one. So we're really excited about the show today.
Wow. So Kelly, she runs a very large organization, San Diego County, Riverside County, and she's going to tell us about that. But I think that they are taking care of over 2,500 kids, which is absolutely wonderful, because just like I said, doing the foster care system, group homes, and etc., they need guidance. We all need guidance, and we all need to step up and support. So, Michelle, I want to get this started. Can you please tell our viewers and our listeners the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and introduce this great lady?
Yes, of course. Just to reiterate, the title of the show today is Voices for Children. And the purpose is getting to know the background of President and CEO Kelly Captain Douglas, talk about the mission of the organization and who they serve, talk about the foster care system and the challenges for the youth that are being served, and discuss what is actually the court-appointed special advocate program, CASA, and the qualifications to become one, and talk about the upcoming events, Starry Night, and Real Word Panel Series. Now let's talk about our guest today, Kelly Captain Douglas. Kelly joined Voices for Children as president and CEO in October 2019. A native San Diegan, Kelly spent her earlier career working in San Diego's legal and nonprofit higher education communities. Kelly served as the General Counsel of the University of San Diego from 2005 to 2019, where she oversaw all the university's legal affairs and was a chief legal advisor to the Board of Trustees. Before joining USD, Kelly was a partner at Luce, Forward, Hamilton, and Scripps LLP, now Dentons, where she represented organizations and facilitated the proactive management and resolution of a wide range of employment-related matters. She received a law degree with high honors from Duke University School of Law and a bachelor's degree in international relations from Stanford University. She currently serves on the board of directors of the National Conflict Resolution Center on Goodwill Industries of San Diego County. While working at USD, she served on the board in other leadership roles with the National Association of College and University Attorneys, the nation's largest bar association for higher education lawyers. We are pleased to have back the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, Kelly Captain Douglas to the show.
How you doing, Kelly? Welcome back. Welcome back.
Great to see you, and thanks so much for the opportunity to join you today.
It's always a pleasure, having you on the show. I mean, last time, I really did not know anything about CASA or some of the things that that your organization is doing, but I did my research, and wow, it's a real big deal. And not just in the San Diego, Riverside County area, but all across the country. And people need to know about this program and how they can reach out and how they can help out as well. So, but I'm gonna start off. You grew up in San Diego, and many said this is the second most beautiful city in the world. Can you tell? Can you tell our viewers and listeners what was it like growing up in San Diego?
I feel very fortunate to be from San Diego. I'm actually a third generation San Diegan. My family made our way to San Diego because of World War II and Camp Pendleton, and we have stayed. I lived in San Diego till I was about 10, but then we moved to Miami, Florida, and so that's really where I had many of my formative years. But in the early 90s, after graduating from law school, I came back. And the beauty of San Diego is the innovation in our community. There have been so many changes over the last several decades with respect to the industries that make our community work. I also just value the diversity of experience. Being right here, sitting on the border with Mexico, just creates a vibrant community with so many opportunities and so many challenges for all of us to deal with.
Wow. So who inspired you to want to be a lawyer and, just grew up in that field and, learn so much where you venture out and you're doing so many great things as the CEO and president of Voices for Children. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about that?
Happy to. When I was in college, I worked one summer for the United Way of Dade County in Miami, Florida. And that summer, I was the liaison between United Way, which provided a lot of funding for service organizations. This was before the internet, so you couldn't just go to websites and give. Many individuals gave to support great causes through United Way, and I was the liaison with the different agencies. And when I was there, I worked for a woman who led that portion of the organization. She had her law degree, but she was really using her law degree in the way that really inspired me to help problem solve and to really help make a difference in the community. I love the way she analyzed and tackled issues and problems. And I think it was that experience that made me committed to going to law school. I had thought about it before, but I wasn't sure that that was the path I wanted to take. But I think my experience in working with her inspired me to think bigger about the opportunities that could be opened up by going to law school to really help problem solve and to make a difference in the world around us.
Wow. So you are the president and CEO of Voices for Children. Can you tell us how did you get involved in it? How did you get started?
Sure. I first learned about CASA programs back when I was in college because I was involved with an organization whose philanthropic charity that we supported was CASA. And so fast forward nearly 30 years, it's amazing to be leading this organization. But this was a midlife career pivot for me. I practiced law in San Diego for 26 years, most recently as general counsel for a local university. And a couple of years before I made this transition, I was eager for the next challenge and the next opportunity. It's a long story, but the short version is that as I started to bring some folks confidentially into my inner circle and shared that I was starting to figure out what was next, and my husband and I knew that we wanted to stay in San Diego, I had lunch with somebody I'd known for a long time and casually mentioned at the end that if I found the right opportunity with a great nonprofit with a mission that really inspired me, I might think about really making a big change and putting my name in the hat for a leadership role. And he called me the next week and he said, "Oh, it's ironic that we haven't spoken in a year and a half, but I happen to be board chair of this great organization. And we're about ready to go through a CEO transition, and we're going to be posting the position in the next week. You should check it out." And wow. So I did. Of course, I was familiar with CASA, but that was really the moment where I kind of decided, okay, am I going to go for this or not? And the mission of Voices for Children is really what drew me and just grabbed my heart. And I decided to put my name in the hat, and here I am.
Wow. I tell you, we're going to take a station break, but when we get back, we're going to talk about the mission and some of the great things that that this organization is doing. And we're just going to delve real deep into it. So if you want to be part of this great conversation with Kelly, you can couple ways. 1-866-577-2473, or just go to your comments and you can ask their questions via the comments. It's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We will be back shortly after the break. Hello. Hey, I'm James Cooley. I am the founder and CEO of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, Options, Opportunities, Choice Program. Our primary mission is to help build a foundation of our youth and young adults and communities. And we encourage everyone to dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. And the way that you do that is, first of all, you got to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to know that you are here for a purpose. You also have to be able to step out your comfort zone and do things that you probably didn't think that you can do.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Ain't Over Yet, the true life coming of age story by James J.C. Cooley. Using humor, wit, and engaging storytelling, James paints a picture about his arrival in a rural deep south town and realization that life would never be the same. Cooley lays out his struggle to adjust from city life to country life and back again, sharing his hard-earned lessons to educate, encourage, and enlighten our next generation of leaders and heroes. Get your copy of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James J.C. Cooley, available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold.
FM 96.1
North County,
AM 1170 San Diego. The Answer.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James Cooley is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. Dr. Cooley is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life, and I tell you, we got Kelly Capon Douglas, the president and CEO of Voices for Children, and I tell you, this organization does so much, and I think Kelly, I think you guys support over 2,500 kids, and we're getting ready to learn a little bit more about the mission and all the great things that they do, and making sure that they represent our youth, especially the foster care communities and others. And so you can be a part of this conversation by calling 866-577-2473, or just like I said, you can go to whichever mechanism you're watching this on. You can send a question and ask Kelly any question that you want to, or just call and just say hello to us. So, hey, Kelly, we had to take a break, but you were telling us all the great things and how you got started and with this. But can you tell us the mission of Voices for Children, and how does that relate to the CASA program?
I'd love to. Thank you. Voices for Children is the nonprofit organization that is designated by the superior courts in San Diego and Riverside counties to recruit, train, and support community volunteers that we call court-appointed special advocates, or CASAs. So a CASA is appointed by the court and matched with a child or a sibling group that has experienced abuse and neglect and has been removed from their homes and entered the foster care system. The primary role of a CASA is to advocate for the child for the duration of their time in the foster care system, to ensure that they have access to the resources that they need to thrive. But over time, and for many children in foster care, it is their CASA who becomes the most consistent and trusted adult in their life. And for kids who have experienced trauma, one of the greatest predictors of their ability to overcome that trauma and thrive is having a caring and consistent adult in their life. So we're really honored to support so many community volunteers who step up to make a difference in the lives of children. At Voices for Children, this past year, we served through advocacy about 2,500 children across San Diego and Riverside counties. We supported about 1,400 CASA volunteers. We are the largest CASA program in the Western United States. We're one of the largest in the country, but we're one of a network of about 1,000 CASA organizations across the country. And so for your viewers or listeners, wherever you happen to be, there's likely a CASA program in your community. And so what I'll be sharing today, even though I'm from San Diego and Riverside, if you are inspired and interested, check out your own local CASA program, and if you're interested in making a difference.
I want them to see this short video right here so that they can get a little bit more understanding of this, because it is such a big deal, and it's across the country, all over. So here we go.
When children are removed from their homes because they've been abused or neglected, they enter foster care, where they need the support of a caring adult more than ever. Voices for Children needs volunteers like you to advocate on their behalf and ensure their needs are met. Learn more about how you can become a volunteer court-appointed special advocate, a CASA, and change the life of a foster youth today at speakupnow.org.
That is so powerful. that is so powerful. So, hey, Kelly, how do we go about increasing public awareness about the foster care system? I think that's something that we have to do that, because there's so many kids in the foster care system. So can you talk about that a little bit?
There are many ways, and starting with opportunities like this. Thank you very much for giving us the platform to be able to talk about the needs of children in foster care and how community members can step up to help by being a CASA. So exposure and visibility and opportunities, whether it's through TV or radio or print, in all different communities across our region is so essential. Of course, spreading the word also through social media and our digital presence is really important too. But also taking advantage of opportunities to, in our case, have our CASAs speak about their impact and their experiences as a volunteer. Our CASAs, one of the common traits amongst them all is their humility. And while many CASAs feel like they haven't made that much of a difference, we know they have made a huge difference in the lives of their kids. And when they can talk about the impact of their volunteerism and their advocacy, it's very compelling. We also have a special program at Voices for Children called The Real Word, which is a speakers panel comprised of former and older foster youth who talk about their experiences in foster care. And hearing directly from those with lived experiences is probably the most compelling way to learn more about the foster care system. And so we are just so honored to support this group of young men and women who are willing to really be vulnerable and share really a very traumatic and hard time in their life, and be able to reflect back on that and reflect back on what the things were in their lives that helped them to get through that time, and to set themselves up for as much stability and independence as possible now as young adults.
Wow. And so what are some of the significant challenges for the foster youth that are being served?
Mm-hmm. There are so many. First, one thing to keep in mind is that the children we serve are from birth through age 21. Many of the children we serve are actually removed from their homes directly from the hospital because their moms tested positive for different substances while they were in the hospital right after giving birth. So the needs of an infant are obviously very different than the needs of one of the older youth. We call them transition-aged youth. Those are the ones who are usually between the ages of about 16 and 21. But there are some common threads for children in foster care with respect to their biggest challenges. One, of course, is the lack of consistency. Many of our children in foster care will experience multiple home placements during their time in the systems. For some, it's 10 or more different homes that they will live in. And so going along with that, not only is it a new surrounding, a new family to live with, often new schools, separation from friends, separation from siblings, all of that can create many challenges. One particular challenge that we see amongst the children in foster care who we serve at all ages is the educational challenges. Kids in foster care will change schools an average of 8 times while they are in the foster care system. And that school instability has a lot of other ramifications with respect to their progress. Our kids also experience more needs with respect to addressing learning disabilities and other emotional disabilities that arise from the trauma they experienced from the abuse and neglect. Another challenge that we see with kids in foster care are the increased mental health challenges. Of course, as a nation, we're seeing the challenges associated with mental health cut across every single community without regard to race or economics. But for kids in foster care, those challenges are magnified because of often their isolation and separation and the trauma that they've experienced and used. So those are just a few examples of the many challenges that we try to address through the power of our CASA volunteers and our advocacy and support.
How do a person become a CASA? I mean, as relate to the program, it's just a process to just sign up and you say, okay, you are the CASA for this particular person or whatever. How's that process done?
A CASA, we actually have a pretty extensive application process. The first step to become a CASA volunteer is to attend one of our information sessions. We hold those virtually right now. And that session provides an overview of what a CASA does, what the time and other expectations are, and what that process will look like. After the information session, there's then an application process that includes not only an extensive written application, but also interviews with our team. And then from there, a decision will be made about whether the applicant will be invited to participate in our training, which is called Advocate University. Advocate University at Voices for Children is a 35-hour training program where about half of it is in person now by Zoom. The other half is through online learning tools that are offered in connection with our in-person training as well. And at the conclusion of that training session, our newest CASAs are sworn in as an officer of the court by one of our juvenile court judges. Then they are matched with a child or a sibling group, and their advocacy journey begins.
Wow. So it is an extensive process in becoming a CASA. We're going to take a station break, but when we come back, we really going to delve off into the role of a CASA and how they are affected in these children's lives. So if you want to be part of the conversation, it's just a couple of ways that you can do it. You got 866-578-2473 as you go to the comments portion and ask questions. Yes, your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity.
Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
The American Dream. Get the new audio version of his book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by Dr. James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever books are sold.
Streaming now on the Answer San Diego app and Odyssey.com.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James Cooley is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. Dr. Cooley is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And we're talking about CASAs. We're talking to the fantastic Kelly Capron Douglas, who is the president and CEO of Voices for Children. And she is educating us on a lot of great things that the organization is doing and how they go about caring for all of these great kids and instilling in them that their life have purpose, regardless of the situation or circumstances that you might have been born in or you might be in at that time. Your current situation is not your final destination. So we talk about that all the time. So, hey, Kelly, you was talking about the mission. You were talking, telling our viewers and our listeners how the process is done in appointing someone as a CASA. So you and I talked off the air a little bit, and you were telling me about how much of an impact a CASA can have on one of these children's lives. Can we talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. Let me start off by talking a little bit about the role of a CASA. As I mentioned, at the end of our training, our CASAs are sworn in as an officer of the court by a juvenile court judge. And then they're matched with a child or a sibling group, and they start their advocacy journey. But let me tell you a little bit about what that looks like. So the primary role of a CASA volunteer is to advocate for the child. And the way that they do that is first and foremost by spending time with the child, building a trusting relationship and hearing directly from them what some of their needs are. And when our CASAs spend time with their children, they often take them out on outings. They go to the park. They might go out for pancakes every week. They might go to the zoo. We have a lot of community partnerships with groups and museums around our community. And it's not only do our CASAs get to add a little joy and have fun with their kids, but they also provide some normalcy for these children so that they can have experiences that all kids should have. And in that context, they build trust and rapport with the child so that they can understand their needs better. In addition to spending time with the child, our CASAs also speak with all of the other adults and professionals who are in the child's life. Because our CASAs are appointed through an order of the court, our CASAs have access to a host of confidential information about the children. So they speak with social workers, they speak with teachers, they speak with therapists, they speak with other medical providers, they speak with the child's biological family members and caregivers, foster parents or other resource families that they may be living with. And collecting all of that information and looking at all the reports about the child, the CASA then is in a position to help identify the child's needs. And then at regular hearings in the juvenile court, they typically happen about every 6 months in the foster care system. Our CASAs will submit a written report to provide information to the judge about the child's needs. And then our CASAs will show up at hearings and advocate verbally for the child and what their needs might be, whether it be educational needs or placement stability or access to other healthcare services. Those are just a few examples of the types of advocacy that they will engage in. But as I mentioned, throughout all of this, the impact is extraordinary because our CASAs often are the ones who know their kids the best because they've spent the most time with them. And they're filling in the gaps in an overburdened system and really providing crucial information to judges and others who need that information to help that child have access to the resources they need as they navigate their way through the system.
We got a question. We got Joshua Goldsmith, and I don't know if you can see the question that he wrote there, but he said that he used to be a CASA 4 or 5 years ago, and he said that's a wonderful program. But he want to know what has changed over the past few years and what is the demands for a CASA currently in Riverside County?
First of all, Joshua, thank you so much for your service as a CASA. We're so grateful to support volunteers like you. It's a big commitment, and so we really appreciate your jumping in. At Voices for Children, we've been in San Diego for 42 years, and we've been in Riverside for about 7. And our team in Riverside has just done an exceptional job building that program from serving about 100 children with CASAs 5 years ago to this year serving just over 480 children with CASA volunteers. They've done an exceptional job developing the trust of the court and our various court partners, and then also creating a pipeline of new volunteers. There is a very high demand for CASA volunteers in Riverside County. This year, about 4,500 children will spend time in foster care in Riverside County alone. And so as you can see, we serve about 10% of the kids who are in foster care. While not every child in foster care may need a CASA, about 60% probably do. And so we have great opportunities for growth in Riverside County. But in order to grow, we need a pipeline of CASA volunteers from across the region. So if you're interested in learning more, we'd love to consider you and spread the word as well so that people know that we are still looking for more CASA volunteers in the regions we serve.
Thanks so much, Josh. That wow, it makes you want to just go out and volunteer. And we need great folks like Joshua who cares, So, what type of resources are available for CASA volunteers?
As you can imagine, the CASA volunteer experience is a volunteer experience like no other. And we at Voices for Children are very committed to ensuring that our CASAs are equipped to be able to do the very hard work that they do each and every day. So in terms of some of the support that we provide, first and foremost, Advocate University, through our intensive training program, we help to provide CASAs who come from all sorts of professional and other backgrounds, information about the child welfare system, about childhood trauma, and how children develop, how that impacts the brain and childhood development. We provide information about educational rights for kids, about placement stability, about working with biological families, about working with diverse communities, and how we support diversity and inclusion amongst the kids that we're serving. Those are just some examples. So one of the first resources we provide to our CASAs is our intensive, highly professional training program. Once our CASAs then begin working with children, they are supported by one of our amazing program team members called an advocacy supervisor. At Voices for Children, we have a number of advocacy supervisors who carry caseloads of CASA volunteers. So they may carry caseloads of about 40 to 45 children, CASAs at any given time. And the advocacy supervisors are there regularly to help guide CASAs through the most challenging of circumstances. So it might be something like, CASA is just assigned to a case and learns that the child has not gone to school for 2 years. And they don't even know where to begin to help providing and connecting that child with resources in order to get them on track with their grade. So our advocacy supervisors, who are all trained professionals, are there to help provide that support. There may be circumstances where there's an emergency need for mental health care or an emergency need for housing. For some of our older kids who may have a very sudden need to leave their current housing placement. So our advocacy supervisors are just a pivotal source of support for our CASA volunteers. We also have ongoing continuing education for our CASAs so that once they are assigned to a case and they know the age of their child or the particular needs of their child, they can hone in and attend continuing education to help do a deeper dive on that particular topic. Those are just a few examples of the many resources and ways that we support our CASAs.
Wow. Hey, Taylor, can you share a heartwarming story about one of the CASAs and youth and how that impacted that individual and also the program?
I'd love to. We have so many. With advocating on behalf of 2,500 kids in a given year, we thankfully get to hear many stories and what we call bright spots at Voices for Children, where our team will share with one another just ordinary and sometimes extraordinary ways that our CASAs are really providing hope and normalcy and love and care and support to the kids we serve. But let me tell you a story about a little girl. I'll call her Tara. That's not her real name. We, of course, have to respect privacy, but I can share a story about this little girl named Tara, who about 4.5 years ago entered the foster care system at about age 8. She had, for many years before that, had come to the attention of child welfare services because unfortunately her mom had serious mental health issues and was physically abusing her. And ultimately, little Tara was removed from her home and entered the foster care system. And in the last 4.5 years, she has been in 11 different placements. So moved from home to home. The last placement, thankfully, lasted up for an extended period of time. And the caregivers were in the process of adopting her. And so this little girl was so excited. And during this time, CASA Laura was assigned to help support Tara. And so CASA became involved in her life, got to know her needs, was kind of there by her side through many of these transitions from home to home, and shared in Tara's anticipation about being adopted. But unfortunately, the family decided that they weren't equipped.
Hey, can you hold that thought? We got to take a station break, but I want to come back and continue to pick up the story. So
you bet.
Just hold that one just so one quick second. We got to take a station break, but we're gonna come back and continue to talk about Kelly and the rest of the story. It's your life. If you want to record a conversation, just like I said, that's 866-577-2473, or go to the comments and ask us any question. We'll be back shortly after the break. It's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity. Coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
The J.C. Cooley Foundation is a nonprofit organization that was started in October of 2014. The J.C. Cooley Foundation.
Check it out. It's Dr. J.C. Cooley. Hey, let's go. The J.C. Cooley Show.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phrases and stages. These experiences teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to It's Your Life with James Cooley. James is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. James is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get you equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, James Cooley.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Smart speakers and Odyssey.com.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. Dr. James Cooley is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. Dr. Cooley is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life, and I tell you, we had to take a station break, but I want to pick that story up because it was exciting, and I forgot where I cut you off at, Kelly, in that story. But can we pick it back up?
You bet. I was telling the story about little Tara, who was supported by CASA Laura. Tara had been in the foster care system for quite some time after being removed from her home due to abuse. And during that time, she had lived in 11 different placements. And finally, she was with a home where she thought she would be adopted. And so CASA Laura was sharing in that anticipation for Tara to have that stability that she didn't have for so long. But unfortunately, the prospective adoptive family concluded that they were not equipped to be able to handle some of the behavioral issues that Tara demonstrated as a result of the trauma she experienced as a child. And so very quickly, a new home needed to be located for Tara. And so that's really where CASA Laura stepped in. She quickly worked with social workers and helped to identify a new home for little Tara. But importantly, it was CASA Laura who then went to work to advocate to make sure that she could keep the same therapist that she had been working with, to try to help support her ability to stay in her same school so that she wouldn't have to change schools again. She actually was in a charter school. It was a small school, and that small environment was one in which she really thrived. And so it was because of CASA Laura that they were able to find transportation for Tara to get her to this same school so she could have that stability. So now Tara's back in another foster home. We call them resource homes now. But she has that stability, but it's because she had an advocate to help her navigate that system that she was able to have some of those pieces of stability in her life. So that's just one example of many that we get to help support each and every day at Voices for Children.
Wow. Kelly, it's been stated that Voices for Children are looking for more volunteers, individuals that Black, Latino, LGBT community, and so. Can you explain why that's so important?
Happy to. First of all, we at Voices for Children, like CASA programs across our country, need more CASA volunteers. And the biggest requirement to become a CASA is to have a heart for children and a desire to serve and to make a difference and provide hope to a child who's going through a pretty chaotic and traumatic time in their life. So we are looking for community volunteers who are come from across our region and reflect the diversity in all of its many forms from across our region. We also have a special need for more representation of volunteers from several of the communities that are highly represented in the foster care system. So that includes, among others, the LGBT community, our Black community, and also more Spanish-speaking CASA volunteers who will support kids and their families whose native language is Spanish. Of course, there are children with other language needs throughout the foster care system, but in San Diego and Riverside counties in particular, of course, the need for more Spanish speakers is predominant. In foster care, children who are Black in particular are overrepresented in foster care, as are children who are from the LGBTQ community. And so we want to encourage more folks to volunteer as CASAs who have some of those shared lived experiences, because it can really help in the advocacy. But regardless of one of our volunteers' backgrounds, we do our best to equip each and every CASA volunteer to know how to navigate supporting children who come from diverse backgrounds so that they can enter each of those situations from a position of not being judgmental and being supportive and really meeting the children and their families where they're at in order to provide the best advocacy and caring support for them during their time in foster care.
Wow. So what are some of the other ways that volunteers can help out, even if they wasn't a CASA, but they can just help out because it's part of the community? Can you talk about that a little bit?
The best way, if we have a lot of folks who love our mission and aren't at the point in their life, at least yet, where they're ready to volunteer as a CASA. And so we're so grateful for that. We need so many supporters from across our region. We don't, because of the confidentiality constraints that are cloaked over our work, we don't have a lot of events that are open to the public that include our kids. But we have opportunities for people to introduce us to different organizations that might want to hear more about our work at Voices for Children and what it takes to volunteer as a CASA. We also have a number of volunteers out there who, with their own groups or their own employers, will lead different philanthropic events to raise money to help support our work or to support some of the children's activities that we put on for our kids as well. So there are different ways that people can really step in and help make introductions for us and help give us the opportunity to get the word out about our CASA program at Voices for Children and encourage participation either as a CASA volunteer or by giving a gift or otherwise by just spreading the word about our work.
Wow. So you guys got some upcoming events. Can we talk about some of those things that's coming up real soon?
We do. I mentioned that we have a real word speakers panel, and a few times every year we put on a panel that is open to the general public. Over the last couple of years, we've had the gift of Zoom, which has allowed us to include an audience from across the nation. And so on September 13th at 6 p.m. Pacific, we will have our next real word presentation. This one is open to the public. It's free. Registration is available on our website at speakupnow.org. And that's a wonderful way to hear directly from youth with lived experience in the foster care system about what their experiences were like and how their CASA impacted their life. That's one event. And then our big fundraising event at Voices for Children each year is called Starry, Starry Night. We've been holding this event for a very long time. But on Thursday, October 20th, at the extraordinary Rady Shell at Jacobs Park, we will be bringing our community together to celebrate our CASA program and to share inspiring stories about how our community volunteers have provided hope and encouragement to the children that we support. And of course, at that event, we also raise crucial funds that make our mission possible. In San Diego, about 80% of our annual budget is comprised of private philanthropy. We have a team of about 75 people from across our organization. So we depend very heavily on the generosity and the kindness of our community to help support our work. And Starry Night is one way that we help generate that support and excitement and commitment to our mission.
Wow. Yeah, so we only got about 1 minute of radio left, but we're gonna continue. We're gonna continue after that. What are a couple of takeaways that you can let our radio audience know that they need to get from this great conversation that we had?
Thank you. The first is, if you're interested in becoming a CASA volunteer and you live in San Diego or Riverside counties, check us out at speakupnow.org. And if you live in another part of the state or the country, we encourage you to look up your own local CASA program. Second, we would hope that you would talk about us, talk about the needs of kids in foster care. These are our community's children. They are kids who deserve to have every dignity and opportunity for hope, to live independent and thriving lives. And so help us get the word out, share the work of our CASA program at Voices for Children and our extraordinary volunteers. And we would be so grateful for that. And of course, if you're inclined to make a gift, you can also visit us on our website. But we just thank you so much for taking the time to be part of this conversation today to learn more, because that's this first step in the process, is learning about this special mission that uses the power of human connection and human relationships to change and impact the trajectory of a life of a child.
Kelly, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come and educate our viewers. We're going to continue now. We're going to continue. But I want to thank you so much for taking the time on the James Cooley Show. It's your life to talk about this great organization that you are CEO and president of. And our audience out there, I want everybody to continue to dream big, think big, and be big. And also, just what Kelly just said, become a volunteer, reach out, help the foster care system, help Voices for Children, help everybody. We are all on this team together. It's your life. We'll see you shortly.
Thank you.
Okay, so we back. we still got some about another 3.5, 4 minutes television time and live time. So in 2022, the organization was recognized as a top tier change maker by the Human Rights Campaign Foundation. Can you tell our audience a little bit about that?
You bet. All Children, All Families is a project of the Human Rights Campaign, which is an organization that really helps to promote LGBTQ+ friendly policies and practices in organizations that serve children who are in the child welfare system. And it was when the opportunity came about for us to apply for recognition, it was really important for us to be able to underscore our commitment to the youth we serve, and LGBTQ youth in particular, many of whom are in the foster care system because they have been rejected by their families at home. And so it's really important for us to show that we've got strong practices of inclusivity to help these children along the way. And so I'm very proud that, thanks to the great work of our team across our organization at Voices for Children and our amazing CASA volunteers, we were recognized with the highest level possible, the innovative inclusion tier of recognition by All Children, All Families. And so I think that just underscores our commitment to acting in the best interest of the children that we serve and doing what we can organizationally to really ensure that we are implementing strong practices in this area to support kids.
Wow. How can I know we told them a little bit about, and I've been flashing on there how they can become part of. But can you tell our listeners how can they contact CASA, your organization, Voices for the Children, etc.? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. If you're in San Diego and Riverside counties, the best way to contact us is to check us out on our website, speakupnow.org. And on our website, there's a host of information about how to volunteer, how to otherwise support the organization or make a gift, how to learn more. And if you need to call our organization, our contact information is on the website. If you are elsewhere and you're trying to track down your local CASA organization, I encourage you to go to the National CASA Association website, where they have links to the websites and information about how you can contact the CASA program in your local community.
Wow. It's always a pleasure having you on the show, Kelly. And your peeps, I call them peeps, they did a tremendous job in making sure that we got all the information that we needed for this. So I want to give them a thumbs up. You always welcome on the show, especially when we're talking about a great cause like this. Let's just plan to do this again one day if you have time and your schedule. And
thank you so much for the opportunity. And yes, shout out to our team. They do an amazing job, and huge shout outs to our volunteers, because we would not be here were it not for community members, 1,400 of them across San Diego and Riverside, who make the commitment they do to the children we serve.
Again, thank you so much, Kelly. And I tell you, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. It's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Hey, Kelly, thank you so much. Thank you so
that
much.
Was fun. It went so quickly.
It's when you're having fun, and when you just turn into a conversation, not just pointed questions, and it's become fun. It's become more educational, and that time just flies by. So
it was great. Thank you so much for sharing so much of your time with us and giving us the chance to get the word out.
We have to get the word out, and it's
you should be a CASA.
If I had the time, but if I had the time, I'm just so busy right now. I'm writing 3 books at the same time, and just busy doing TV and radio and etc.
You're a busy person. A couple Valentines ago, we have a newsletter that we put out, and we did a special edition on couples that volunteered as CASAs together. They obviously are on different cases and all, but they went through that volunteer experience together. So if you and Michelle are ever ready, I know our team in Riverside would love to support you.
If you know what, I might have to take you up on that one day.
You let me know.
I want to thank you again. And again, thank you, a great team. They are Michelle and them work together, and another great show. So
thank you. And please give my best to Michelle.
I will. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks,
you have a wonderful day. All right.
You too. Bye.